What deck should you not play?
Zard. I think playing
Yeah.
Zard box, like if you're not super well versed with it, or like a top 50 player, is like kind of suicide into this big event because you're gonna have to play perfectly.
Yo, what up, guys? Welcome to Faded Town, number one Pokemon podcast in the world. These are facts. Look up in a book, Google it, local library, whatever you gotta do. Pokestats, you know. Rule's back. What's
Hello,
up,
bro.
Rule? How you been, man?
Doing good. Been a while since we've done this, but I'm excited to, I guess, like talk about. I mean, you know me. You guys know me. I love
Right.
talking about Pokemon, state of affairs, whatever.
Yeah, it's fun times. It's been a minute. It finally feels like we're back. We're not going anywhere. There's nothing. Hopefully there's no tragedies that happen. We get full season. We have some fun here, you know. We got a lot to talk about today. We're gonna hit all the news, Pokemon news, what we know, what we don't know. We'll talk about regionals, registrations, pricing. Then we'll hit our breakdown like we always do. We'll tell you what to play, what's not to play, what's the sleeper picks. We'll have all that good information for you.
Yeah.
But overall, I've been super excited for this season. I wasn't gonna play. Then Japan got announced. I was like, I should probably play. Also, like, I just haven't never got my invite, and I'm like, I can't just hang it up.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's like one of those where it's like it seems super daunting. Like I told this to a lot of players, where like it feels super daunting to get that first invite, but once you do it the first time, you've already like cleared that wall. So in your mind, you can now start thinking about some. It's like the same thing where it's like you've never day 2'd a regionals, so in your mind you're thinking, oh my god, I need a day 2, I need a day 2. But once you clear that wall for the first time, it's like, okay, I know what that feels like. I know what we've done. Like I remember my first worlds. I was an absolute nervous wreck. Like I switched decks like 3 times before we had to turn in lists, and it was like paper deck lists back then. And so I remember, I know it's a tangent, but like I vividly remember, like it was 2016 Worlds, and this was the year where we were delayed on the start, and I was day 1. So it was like, I think we were supposed to start at like 8th, but we ended up starting at like 9:30 maybe. And so they were walking around collecting paper deck lists, and I had like 3 lists and 3 decks, and I just kept like switching, and I ended up like locking in the deck that my group didn't. Like I think it was like me, like we were like messaging each other too downstairs, and like I think it was like me, Jeremy, Jarlin, ended up pivoting off of Greninja, which the rest of the group played, into like Night March. And I don't know why, like what possessed me, but I just remember like how nervous and like I don't know, it was just like I was a mess. But once you just getting to Worlds was like super exciting for me. Like I remember picking up my kit for the first time and like looking through everything, and it's a different feeling knowing that you earned that invite for the first time.
Right. I was DC, and I was hanging out with all you guys.
Yeah.
And then when we went to pick up our swag, you guys all went to competitors, and I'm like, I can't do this again. And like if I go, I need an invite. I can't be I can't be the one guy that goes over to spectators and be like, hi guys. Yeah, I can't do that.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah. But I'm excited. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is there more regionals this year than ever before, or is like 16 a normal number?
We have 14, I think, right now.
Or is it 14 plus NAIC?
Yeah. We have 14
So
listed right now.
Is that normal?
I think we're +1 or even. If I'm
okay. I don't know. It just seemed like a lot to me. I was like, I don't remember there being that many.
I think we've had 13 or 14 in years past.
Okay.
And I think there's a world where they actually add one more.
Okay. That sounds cool.
And I think it might be like a NorCal one, because we've never not had a NorCal one, right? Like
right?
It feels like
yeah, we're like Seattle or something. Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, Portland already gets one, so that counts, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Portland.
So I think this is either tied for, or we have past the most regionals.
Okay.
So,
which are like when I seen that, and then we didn't have local events for like a week or something, and then we are gonna have local events. Yeah.
So for everyone watching, at the beginning when they announced the regional circuit, everyone was like, "Oh my God, no locals! Like, how are we gonna get our invite? What's the situation?" Everyone panicked a little bit. And then it looks like emails went out to tournament organizers, like league leaders. Sorry, is probably the better term to use. Like, it went out to league leaders to basically be like, "Hey, can you please confirm attendance in the last couple months of your league? Like, are people actually coming? Like, what's the situation? So we can prepare for local events starting in January." And now we don't know if that means that like come January 1st, organizers will be able to schedule things, or like sorry, like maybe like in November or something, they get a follow up email saying like you've been granted a cup or a challenge or whatever. And if I remember correctly, cups and challenges are both monthly. No, cups are quarterly, challenges are monthly. And so if it starts in January, there's like a chance that we can get like each store will get like a third cup because the quarter 3 doesn't start till February.
That'd be nice.
But if they like kind of try to kick us off at the same time as Scarlet Violet, all at once, there's a world where we could only have 2 cups, 2 challenges per, or like 2 cups, like 4 or 5 challenges per store, which I could see them doing it either way. I think January makes sense if they want to kick us off at the same time as VGC, because VGC starts, I believe they play San Diego Regionals, which is January.
I think so, yeah. Right in January, yeah.
Yeah, which would make a lot of sense because I think VGC locals will be very, very big with Scarlet and Violet. And if they want to kind of kick us off there, we could reasonably see this like 2.5 quarter system, or even just abolish the quarter system entire. I don't know. I think they'll keep the quarter system. They love their quarter system.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of news that like we don't have. We don't have
We're missing
how many points. Like, I mean, let's be real. The first regional of the year is, I don't know, 3 days away. When you guys watch it, it's probably like 2 days away. We don't know how many points we need. We don't know, like, to be like completely honest, we don't even know the pricing like for the tournaments. We all assume it's still going to be the same, which it's going to be the same.
I'm going to check the website and see
like, they don't even.
That's actually a really good point.
We looked at, or I think I watched Azul's and Chip's podcast, and they looked at the Pokemon website, and it was like useless. Like like when you look up regionals on that, they didn't even have
really useless. No information.
Like when you look up the regionals, it goes to last year's regionals, so it doesn't even. It's not even updated to like regional lists this year. So
I mean, I guess there's like that glimmer of hope that we could get boosted pricing. Like I remember in 2016-17 season, pricing was updated by New Year's. I think we got like updated pricing for top 64 or whatever, and the top 8 pricing got changed. So there's a world maybe where they're deciding that.
Maybe.
I highly doubt it. However,
me too. We don't know pricing. We don't know how many points we need for worlds. We don't know how many points we get for
regionals.
Winning regionals.
The points are clear because the open points are in the system.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So players were able to kind of deduce that it's the exact same as last year with points.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Which leads me to believe that we'll probably follow a similar, if not the same, system for regionals as a whole. And I guess I'll give my prediction. I think Zach, that we're probably going to have. I think we're going to have a 400 point season with 4 cups, 4 challenges that count for your overall. It might be like 2 per quarter, unless they do the 3 quarter system thing, which at that point I have no clue. My guesses are out the window. But I think 400 is very reasonable because with 4 cups, 4 challenges, players can earn up to 260 from that if they win everything, leaving them with a world where they just need 140 from regionals, or they could even make it like a 350 point invite with that system. I assume there will be a BFL on regionals. There always has been. It's been 6 in years past, so I think 6 is probably the number we're looking at again. For regionals or cups, it makes sense to do the halfway point. If they do 8 again, that'd be kind of crazy because getting 8 finishes in like with like months. losing like 5 months of the system is kind of crazy. Like I to put in perspective, pre-COVID, I went to a ton of cups, and that was March. Like we capped off in March, I think, and I only acquired like 6 cup finishes, which says a lot. And I went to like everything.
Me too. I went to so many cups, it was crazy, and I only had like 4 finishes.
So
like good finishes.
So if they want to kind of keep some sort of fairness, I think they'll probably end up doing the 4 Cup 4 challenges. So make it so more local players can push for that invite. And I think 350 or 400 is a very fair number to get to that invite. And then once you can get to that number, you're not pouring out of money out of your wallet to go to like 10 regionals or something. Like you probably go to 2 or 3 regionals, pick up some pity points, go to NAIC, pick up some pity points. It forces players to play a little bit, like place a little bit at regionals or whatever. Can focus on the local scene a little bit more as well. And then they can save their money up for that price point, which is Japan, which is getting there is going to be pretty expensive, but once you're there, it's the cost of being there is pretty cheap, actually.
Yeah.
Because I'm an econ major, so I like read these random articles that pop up all the time because I'm a nerd.
Right.
And the Japanese yen is in the gutter right now, which is
it is.
Like super nice for us. Like it's like actually like completely bogged down, and like the dollar is so strong compared to the yen. So our dollar goes like a very long way once we're there.
Yeah, when I traveled there, I don't know, like 4 years ago, it was even, which was nice because it didn't feel different. Everything felt the same. So it's like, but it's nice if it's cheaper, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I think people that are grinding, you're going to have your opportunities. Obviously, every regional you go to, you got to make count. Because
yes, absolutely.
If you're not going to go to 12 regionals, like if you're going to 4 or 5 regionals in NAIC, you're going to need to get points at 4 or 5 regionals and NAIC.
The map does look pretty even around this time of year. Like I think I saw somebody post where every regional is, and I think there's like 5 along the East Coast, 5 along the Midwest, and like 4 West Coast, which again, West Coast gets shafted by 1, but that's actually like a pretty reasonable divide across the board for people to go to the ones in their own region. Like
like, I'm gonna look because Shemansky posted exactly what it is.
Like for East Coasters, like there's probably like everyone has like 2 or 3 you can drive to. I guess everything is a drive if you were really crazy, but
not with this gas.
No, not with this gas. That's true. But like, I think everyone has at least like 2 or 3 that are in like reasonable flying distance as well, where like it's not going to run up the price tag too much.
No.
I do know that there's a couple of regionals that are like pretty pricey, like going from east to west is a little bit pricier, west to east, you know, vice versa. So like those players who are thinking about hitting some of the ones in the middle ground can find ways to do it in a reasonable manner. I have like a really good video. I'm plugging myself slightly here, but I have like a really good video from about a year ago where I did like how to like kind of play credit card roulette and get like those points and kind of recycle those over and over again with like hotels and stuff like that. So like that's a really excellent way to justify travel and like kind of make it cheaper on yourself. So if that, like that's like something you want to do or like look into, excellent way to kind of mitigate the cost, because I know Pokemon is not getting cheaper, and we can jump right into entry costs.
We'll jump into that. So we have, you were right with the regionals. We have 5 on the East Coast, 4 on the West Coast, and then like 5 in the middle. They are getting more expensive. I don't know. Like to me, maybe it's because I'm older now. Like it didn't feel expensive. I was like, like, I don't know. I felt like
you were just paying. Yeah.
Like everywhere I go, like if I go to like an event to do anything, like a concert or something, like $100 sounds right, you know. So when it was like 70, I was like, all right. But then like I started thinking like, I don't know, like 3 years ago, it was like $35. And we're complaining this.
I don't remember if when I started it was free or $20, but it was like really cheap back in like 2010, 11. Right. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but like I think it was free. Like I genuinely believe that like
I remember you could pay in bulk. I remember I brought bulk and I got into regional just giving them Pokemon bulk.
I understand that venues are probably more expensive, and like I'm very neutral on this issue because like I obviously see it from both sides where like $70 is running up the bill, but I do understand that in this day and age, venues are probably significantly more expensive. We're continuing to keep COVID protocols with the spacing, which I'm a huge fan of, like having the space in between the tables, like but also that demands bigger venues and higher seating. And if we're trying to accommodate like 1,000 competitors at every event, like that's gonna run it up to get these like bigger venues. But I think what everyone wants like is just to see like the receipts, like at least once, just being like, hey, like can you just show us like why it's costing so much? I know some people have done like their own little sleuthing and research on Twitter and have been like, well, this is how much square footage we're renting out, this is what's happening, this is what the price point is, which makes sense, sure. Like I mean, like I appreciate that, but I was talking to Nico actually about this, and Nico pointed out that the entry fees have been going up for them in Europe as well, but the venues have been the exact same. They've been going to the same venues. So that's something that why I think there's like a counterpoint to be made here too, like why there's something probably more a little bit that I want to dive into. But for us, I think the venues are getting bigger. There's more going on, and I do appreciate like what we've been getting. For our price point, obviously 70 is still very high, but I think having a couple receipts kind of thrown out there would make people feel more comfortable. I do think like I do like what Europe did with the Lille. I believe it's the Lille, where they did $40 entries for junior seniors.
I think that is the biggest thing that bothers
our junior
me.
senior division is going down like significantly, and so I would like to see that being reduced. Like if I was a kid that age, there's no way I could justify $70 on top of everything to my parents, especially if I was just like a casual, which a lot of these kids are. Like a lot of these kids are not hardcore grinders. They're someone who lives nearby. I mean, like it's the same thing VGC experienced in the last couple of years, where like the entry fees were making it so like juniors and senior division had like 2 or 3 people, maybe max 10, and I don't want that to happen to us as well. So I think I would highly commend organizers if they were able to find that price point where they could still break even with no profit on the junior senior division.
I agree.
Where like they kind of like, not like out of the goodness of their hearts, because I understand there's a business to be, it's a business at the end of the day, but like kind of take a little bit of an L on the whole senior junior thing and just encourage growth. I don't
know. I have a hard time thinking that you really need to charge these kids that much. I don't know.
I mean, I agree. I completely agree.
It's rough because there's, especially like, I think it's gonna be weird when we get to VGC, because to play in a tournament costs more than to buy the entire game, which like when you compare stuff like that, like obviously like a Pokemon deck's like $100 or something, so it's like at least
I've talked to VGC people, because I remember like early what is it, Sword and Shield, like they had a ton of people, but their numbers like obviously started going down. I think it is definitely hard to justify paying more than your game, especially like when, because they I think they get the same kickers we do for money. So like with 100 people, you're not. I don't believe they get the full 5K. I think they get like 2, maybe 1.5 for winning, which is like, I don't know. Like, that kind of sucks to like.
I think the days of like making your money back on regionals, I think, are over.
I agree. I agree. It's, I mean,
like, even if you won,
you can keep your sealed product and like hold it long term, but it's not like the same where it's like when I was in college, I would come up to these regionals in like 2017, 18, top 8. Or like not even top 8, day 2, get my entry fee back, get my plane ticket back, sell the box, pay for the food for the weekend, and then like, I'm good. You know, I'm set.
Yeah.
Like because I would fly Spirit everywhere.
Oh, I'm flying Spirit everywhere still, and so like
I'd be like, I can't bring that box home. I gotta
nope. That's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, I don't even have a bag to put that stuff's got to go as soon as I get it. You could
probably find people who are willing to pay more than that 75 the vendors used to pay, because the price point of boxes has gone up as well. So you could probably get like 90, maybe even 100, if you like kind of haggle, which is something. It's not a lot, but it's something.
Yeah, it's just tough. Like you got. I don't know, even like top 16, I think is only like $250.
500.
Is it 500? Okay. Yeah, top 32 is.
But top 16 is also doing like. Top 16.
Really, you're doing 10, really well.
It's like 10-3-2 record, or like 10.
Yeah, you're doing.
Like you're barely not making top 8.
Yeah, you're doing great. And like top 32 is only $250. That's like not even the plane ticket.
I've gotten 9 wins and 10 wins at tournaments this season, in this past season, and bubble top 32. So it's been brutal. It's a brutal. It's brutal to even try to get your money back, which is
there's no way.
You can't think about
like
it. Like
hotels are more expensive now too. Everything's just more expensive, and
Airbnb's not cheap anymore.
No, Everything is, and our price. Well, as far as we know, our pricing isn't any higher. So we out here for the championship points. You're not really out here to win money, to be honest.
Yep.
I mean, you get first, sure. You made some money.
This is a hobby that we're spending money in, obviously, and I think, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is at this point. Don't think about making money on this anymore. I know there used to be a lot of players that would fund their whole career just doing well on tournaments. And
that's what I do. I mean, like, I think I never went, for a vast majority of when I played in college, I never went negative. Like, it felt super nice when I did my expense sheet, because my dad's an accountant, so he would make me do all my expenses. Ooh. And so when I would do all my expense sheets and everything, I never ever had to ask my parents. Okay, one time I asked my parents for money, but it was like a loan because I couldn't pay for OCIC. But it would be like I would never go in the red because I was sharing rooms. I was basically making my money back with even a top 32 plus selling the box. You know, like top 30 would be the 250 plus sell the box. Like, I would basically make my money back on the weekend with that, but now those days have passed.
Yeah, that's not happening. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It is what it is. We'll see. Again, receipts would be nice. Probably will never get that, but
it is what it is. I mean, we'll hopefully maybe get some transparency. Like, it would be really cool if like an organizer would, like, if they're watching this, would like to hop on maybe one day and talk to us about it. We'd love to talk to you guys.
I know the organizer for the Baltimore one did a Q&A.
Yeah, Christine. Did Christine do it? Oh, okay, I didn't know.
She did a Q&A on Twitter, which I haven't really gone through. No one really was asking like rude questions.
Hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, hard-hitting questions. Not rude, I guess you're right. But yeah, it's something to look on. I'll look at it later. But
yeah, I mean, I think getting that we've never had that like full transparency between staff and players, which has been something I think we've wanted for a really long time. And so having some sort of segue would be really cool.
Yeah, I think regionals feeling like sneaker drops is kind of annoying too, where you're like, I gotta know right when this drops because of my fill up. Like, we didn't have that issue in the past, but it is what it is now.
I mean, I do like their like transparency for a majority of them. I do think that Salt Lake was a little bit scuffed.
I think West Coast won't be as popular, so like
I will amend that. I will amend that with saying that when San Diego or with San Diego or when sorry, I'll just say when Scarlet Violet comes out, I think that we'll have to compete with these VGC guys. And
that's true.
When that happens with seeding, I do expect like the first couple to blow up. Like, I think San Diego is our kickoff, and I think like we'll probably see like 300-400 because I know the West Coast has like a very strong VGC base, and because it's like the premier, like not like the first one, like the first Scarlet Violet regionals. I think there will be a lot more people who are willing to travel out there for that regionals to compete. So that might be one where like knowing the drop or knowing the allocation of slots would be very helpful. I do know that they're having it at the convention center, which is massive. So like maybe it will be good, but also again we don't know what room they're booking or what's the situation, because that room we had last time, because it's the same, I think the same place as last time, was huge.
It was
absolutely
huge.
Massive.
It was dope. I think you just gotta follow like Shemansky or Will Post on Twitter.
Shemansky,
I think it's their best chance. Arc Labs.
Overload events is going to be the East Coast regionals.
Yeah.
Day 2 events will be all the Midwest ones, and the Northwest one, or the Northwest Pokemon, does not have a Twitter, so it's a little bit of a.
Yeah, you just gotta hope you have friends.
Yeah, Christopher does this good.
Yeah, that's a thing there. West Coast is kind of up in there,
but they won't. I don't think they'll fill up too much.
But maybe they'll see that everybody's complaining. Someone on staff will make a Twitter.
I mean, we can also just talk. We can try to like talk to them at Salt Lake as well.
Yeah, I think people are reasonable.
Politely, of course, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are reasonable. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I think we'll be all right there.
Yeah.
We'll have 4 or 5 regionals on the West Coast, so it's not.
Yeah.
I think East Coast is the ones you really need to be on top of.
East Coast and Midwest will fill up pretty quickly. I think like stuff like your Charlotte, your Wisconsin, Knoxville, even Florida for sure. Like those will fill up. Arlington, Texas will be probably popping.
The flight to Arlington for me is like $600. I'm like, why? It's so close.
Bro, mine's are also expensive. I heard there's a Southwest sale currently running, so I'm going to check that right after the podcast.
All right, I have to check that out. But
yeah,
oh, the one there's one regional I'm mad about. Was it Peoria, the Illinois?
Peoria? Yeah, Peoria.
Come on. Why can't we do Chicago? Why are we in the middle of nowhere? Chicago flight, $130. Peoria flight, $500. I'll just stay home. It's crazy. Like, can we just...
These locations are very obscure.
Some of them are. I looked at them. Some of them are obscure, but we always go to them, like Frankfurt and Knoxville and some other ones. But
Knoxville's not terrible because there's like a ton of airports you can fly into.
Yeah, but it's just like I'm thinking as like a traveler, like someone that wants to visit a city. Like, do I want to go to Knoxville?
There's not too many destination cities on this list. I will say that, but also there's not that many destination cities in America. To be fair,
I don't know. Like Charlotte's kind of is fine. Like just bigger cities. You know what I'm saying?
Charlotte's cool. Portland's cool.
That's like
Vancouver's cool.
Yeah. Orlando, Salt Lake.
Orlando's a good one. I mean, I like
San Diego, Toronto, Vancouver. Like those are all pretty good. They're all pretty good. And then you have like some weird one in the middle of Illinois. That's like doing a regional in Nevada and going to like Laughlin or something. Like,
I don't know why that is. So that's
exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, can we just go to Vegas? Like, I don't know. We'll see. You think NAIC gonna stay in Columbus?
Or Indy? I think it's one of the two.
One of the two.
Those are the only two convention centers that are like, central enough to handle it. I think Columbus definitely can. Given, so I've been to Columbus when they did Origins there as well, and I've seen them do like the two halls that we have, plus the two halls next to them for Origins, and that's like a massive amount of space that can occupy a lot, and that's usually what Origins does. And I think had the MLM conference or whatever not been there this year, then we could have potentially booked those rooms as well. But I don't know, like for big events like ICs, I'm confident that they have to do the booking well in advance, which I think we can lead into the point that has caused a lot of frustration and controversy. Is LAIC not being announced yet? It is. We're about 2 months out. There are players who will need to get visas. There are passport issues, and the prices for the tickets are getting to be, for some players, more than the travel awards. Like our Australian friends will have to pay their entire travel award of like $3,500 or more to simply fly to Brazil, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like they're going to have to take the option. I mean, they have the option, obviously, if they have travel award to do the flight and hotel, but like, what is happening? Like, where, like I have to assume these ICs are booked far enough in advance because they give us the countries, right? Like they gave us the countries already. Like LAIC is Brazil, Oceania is Australia, Europe is in the UK, and North America is in the USA. Like, yes, that's a very vast range, but like I feel like if you're booking these big events, you have to be able to tell us in advance that, like, hey, what's like I mean, like I remember last year when we got our schedule, we literally had the first 3 ICs with locations. Like I think we literally had like all 3, like I think all the way up to Germany were given to us. And I think we had NAIC's location, but just not the dates.
Yes.
Which, because I remember vividly booking, like finding this like absurdly cheap flight to Frankfurt, and I had like booked it. I was just like, I am booking this, and it was like October when I booked. So with LAIC, like even for myself, where tickets, and typically for myself, to be fully transparent to LAIC, have been like $800 nonstop from Dulles, which obviously I'm paying a little bit more to take those nonstop options, like maybe $100-$200, but I prefer to have those than what's going on. Right. But this year, my flights are no cheaper than like $1,200, $1,300, and I'm getting these one stops in like really bad locations. Like I'm going up to Toronto or Quebec, for example, before I go down, or I'm going through like Latin American countries where I have like an hour stop, which I'm not comfortable with, obviously. Right. Like the options are getting limited, the time is getting limited, and I don't think you want to be gatekeeping your top players from attending an international by just not giving us the dates. I don't know. It just kind of sucks. Like I think a lot of players who are like gonna go for 16 or gonna go for this IC without the stipend, like I think they're being blocked out by the price point now. Like I think they're being like heavily pushed out by the existing price point of what's happening. Like I don't know how you can, as a player, like justify with no stipend saying I'm gonna slam $1,600 minimum on this trip.
Yeah, just for like a flight,
yeah. So I don't know. This is shaping up to be an interesting start to the season. But Japan is the carrot at the end of the stick, and that is something that I think a lot of players are very motivated to go to. I do understand for people that are like, we're adults with adult money and we can go to Japan at any point in our life. It's different because I think when you go, you want to either go with like your partner or like friends in general, and it's really hard to kind of wrangle up people and like get that squad together. But like if you know that Worlds is happening, you know, like if I'm like bombing out of the event or something and Zach is there, I could be like, yo, Zach, want to go get like food, or like want to go to like karaoke or something.
Let's go do something cool.
Or like the players who don't make it to day 2, for example, they can plan a day trip somewhere around like Tokyo, because we're close enough with Yokohama, or you can go to Kyoto or Nara, like all these places that people have bucket lists. If you can't tell, I've been like wanting a Japan trip for quite a long time in my own personal life, and I had something planned that just fell through due to COVID.
Yeah,
but
I remember I was looking at tickets.
Yeah, you were gonna come with us. It was gonna be dope. Like, it was gonna be a really fun trip, and I think players will make this a little bit of an extended trip as well if they head out there, which I really like enjoy. I know a couple players did that in Europe. Like, I think a couple players would go to Europe. I think after London, they like left for like I saw someone leave for Ireland, someone went to Spain, someone went to France. Like they just made like trips out of it because like once you're already there, like getting around is pretty cheap. So I think that the carrot at the end of the stick being Japan is crazy, and I think we can hit on that a little bit too. Like my personal thoughts is like it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be absolutely crazy in terms of attendance from people that are not in the event. For you, Zach, who wasn't actually there in London, there was a lot of players, or not players, but a lot of people outside of the event, like the Pokemon Go players, people who are just there to collectors, people who are just there to spectate, go to the Pokemon Center, all this stuff. Like there was a lot of people who were not even participating in the main event that were there, which was kind of crazy to me because I didn't expect that kind of craze, you know, like I would leave the event hall area, walk outside to like the middle section, and there'd just be like so many people, and like I would walk by like the Pokemon Go area, like they had like this like picture booth where you could do this like quests for your phone, and like people there was like a line of people doing that, and it was just like it was crazy. It was really cool. Now what I saw there, I expect like 20 times worse in Japan.
That's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, this is gonna be the first World Championships in Japan. Like, how like insane is that? That's like insane. Like, I want to be involved. I want to be there. I want to be in that situation. So like, as much as like, I could go to Japan whenever I want. Like, I can get a cheap flight during whatever season, go there, have fun, but it's not the same. You're gonna be surrounded by so many people that like all your friends are people. I mean, all your friends are gonna be there. Like the experience is just gonna be wild. Like Japan was amazing when I went with just 2 of my friends. I could just imagine when I go with like 15, 20 of my friends. Like it's gonna be fun.
Like literally.
The numbers are gonna be insane. You're right, though.
The thing that I know that Japan's also gonna do, like given how they are with like their promotion, is like I like imagine like the subways and like
it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be
like everything will promote Worlds, which is gonna be one of the craziest things.
Like the whole city.
Like from what I understand, they have this tournament yearly, and the top 4 players become their like 4 kings, and they like promote these guys in like TPC promotes them in like their Pokemon centers, and like does like photo shoots and uses them in their YouTube videos and has them as like official casters. I think Shintaro is one of them. I know I think Yoshiyuki is another. Like these guys are like very, very good players that Japan loves to use. So like you can, and it might be crazy for us to go too, because there's going to be players out there who have been following like the Western scene, or us in general. Like I guarantee you, like Azul's gonna have so many people that want to just like take pictures with him or talk to him. Same with Tor. Like I guarantee you, like these guys who have been following like our tournaments, like I'm sure people all watched NAIC and watched Azul win. Like I'm sure people have watched like Tor win those ICs across time. Like this is gonna be really cool. Like this is gonna be a really cool. This is like the first time I think it's going to feel like we are on a global scale compared to like having a Worlds in the US.
Yeah, like I think you're right. I think like going there as soon as you get off the plane, you're gonna feel the impact of the event, which is
Yeah,
like super cool to think about actually. Like because
I'm
like
excited.
here you go to like NAIC or something, like no one knows anything until you get to the venue. You're like, oh, there's a big Pikachu or something. Like once you get off the plane, you might just see Pokemon stuff is everywhere. It's crazy. So that's kind of dope. That's super dope. But we got to get there.
Yep.
We gotta get our invites. That starts in 2 days.
Minimum goal is the invite, and then for
Yes.
myself, I will be chasing 16 for at least one
16.
more year.
Right.
I was gonna take a chill pill on this year, focus on life, get my masters going, get all that stuff done. But they announced Japan. I was just like, fuck.
Let's get it.
I was like, might as well, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Could be fun. But let's break this down for everybody. We're going to Baltimore. If you're going to Baltimore, we are playing. What is it? Sword and Shield to Pokemon Go.
Pogo.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No Lost Origins. I'm sorry. We'll talk Lost Origins next week, which I have a lot to talk about. I played in a tournament of Lost Origins last week, so it's kind of fun. But
I haven't played Lost Origins yet, but I have seen a lot of the decks coming out of it, and I'm pretty excited to try some of this stuff.
yeah, it looks fun. It was fun. But that's not why we're here this week. Let's talk Baltimore and what to expect. And I think we'll just dive into the big three. We have Mew, we have Palkia, we have Flying Pikachu, Arceus builds.
Yeah.
Is Flying Pikachu the best deck? It won
I
Worlds.
disagree.
No?
I mean,
It won
It's
Worlds.
really good.
It was like first, second. What was it? First, second,
third, yes, and it did very well
third.
at NAIC as well.
And
I
then
think
one
it is a
NAIC.
I think it is a very high rolly option where you're just saying like Path Marnie will get you there. And I mean,
Okay.
it's been proven that they did it, right? They did it at two big events, like back to back. Like, you can't disrespect it, obviously. But I do think Palkia is still the best deck in the game.
Really?
Because I think Palkia is the best deck going first, compared to every other deck in the game. I think if you go first as Palkia, like, you are immediately putting pressure on your opponents with the turn to just pop them and go in kind of thing. Like, you have so much agency.
There's options too. Yeah.
But that is a caveat. I think you have to be playing the VIP Pass 4 year to build like that. My group plays pretty frequently because I have talked to like some of the players who played Pika, like Andre, and I are friends. Like Andre and I were talking at Worlds, and Miloslav, who made his deck, was talking about how they were confident that if you don't play the 4 VIP Pass, like Palkia is significantly like disadvantaged into that matchup because like if like Palkia needs to get like going on turn 1, so finding that VIP Pass is really important, especially going first. So I do think Palkia is still the best deck. Now, will Palkia have a target on its back? Yes. Will Pika have a target on its back? Yes. Will Mew have a target on its back? Yes. So you are kind of going into the end of a format, and what that means is you're playing matchup lottery to an extent. Unless someone really breaks the mold and really goes crazy and finds something, we're playing matchup lottery. But in years past, we have not seen that happen. Like, if a deck like that will come out, it would have come out at the World Championships. And I don't think anyone had something crazy enough that like was off the radar that nobody expected. You know, like we didn't see, like, for example, 2019 Worlds, like we didn't see something like Henry Brand's Mewtwo, like where that was so meta defining and game changing, or Pidgey, like the DDG Pidgey, like those were two decks that like were so off the wall and off the radar that like you could not prepare for them heading into Worlds.
No.
So we don't have that. We didn't have that at Worlds this year, and
we had one weird deck, but it didn't do well, right? It was what towards list with the Vikavolt, but
Vika
well.
Ludicolo, yeah. But every player who played that Vika Ludicolo deck was like out of the tournament by like round 4.
Yeah,
like I think Tord went like 2-3. I think Nico started 0-3. Robin was like 1-2-1 or something like that. Like everyone who played that deck like did not do well. Like they got like, I think they like some of them played it out to the end, but playing it out because it's Worlds doesn't mean that your deck is any better. Like,
it didn't make top 32. Let's go with that.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it was a harsh tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you cutting the Decidueye? Are you adding dark attackers?
I think so. I think that's probably the better way to do it. I think like you have to expect everyone's playing Dunny from here on out.
That's what I was gonna say. Are we playing Dunny?
Yeah, you have to. I think if you just saw Decidueye being all three of the top three placing decks at Worlds, like you kind of have to play Dunny, and if you don't, well, I think it's just going to be a slow descent into madness, where like you will find someone who copycatted one of the top three lists. And I do expect people to copycat the top three lists. Just pick it up, copy paste, and play it. And when that happens, you will get rolled. Like you will just get absolutely rolled by like that one Decidueye. And I mean, even with Dunny, I think you're still disadvantaged because against the Decidueye build, I think you might still be like actually unfavored because they play the 4 boss for that reason. They play the 4 boss so they can chase down the Dunsparce, they can bring it up at their own agency, and they can set up their Decidueye. Like Decidueye is still really good. I think there's a world where you could play like, I don't know, like more of a hybrid where you can play like a 1/1 Decidueye and like a 1/1 Crobat or something, and just play like a bunch of different energies. But also you're getting way too clunky at that point, and I'm like really scared of going to that many 1-ofs when you can't search them reliably. But I don't know. I mean, it worked for the top 3 places in the world, so like,
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's fine. Like in a vacuum, like
it's tough because at that point you're trying to tech for everything.
Yeah. Like, maybe I'm like you always think like, am I missing something?
Right? Because like in your head, when I look at this list, which is like, I mean, you have a 2/2 Decidueye, you have a 3/2 Pikachu, and then you have a bunch of support Pokemon with Arceus. You're attacking for like two big matchups and kind of taking the L to Mew. I
mean, yeah, you have the Path Money, and you have to kind of like pray that your Path Money works. And I mean, it does sometimes. Like
it does.
In the Open, Sam said he played against 4 Mews, and he went 4-0 because he just put Path Money and it worked. And I played against 2 Mews, and I went 1-1 because Path Money worked one set, and the other set it didn't. And that's how it goes.
They play the 4 path too, which is, I mean, that's when it comes down to me, you know, like path Marty can just be good enough. So that makes it tough too. I think you might not need the dark matchup, but
no, you might not need it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also you're right. Just Dunsparce probably not good enough, to be honest.
But you still have to play it. I think you still have to play it, so you have to force them to take a turn off.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's like a necessary evil. I think what the list should be doing, in my personal opinion, is playing like a way to one-shot an Arceus on turn 1 or turn 2. Sorry, like your first turn attacking, like either playing a copy of Choice Belt, Goon, like playing a copy of those, or like playing Powerful Energy, like something. I think just because like if you go first, like if you can do something like that, you can just run away with the whole game.
Correct.
So maybe you just like scrap the whole Decidueye package and just say like fuck it, we're going in. Because I've always enjoyed when I think there was that dark build, like the Arc Dark Intel, where they just played the Belt, the Goon, like super early to try to get that like pop off cheese, and like it made it impossible, and it made it really hard in the mirror to come back because you can't out heal them at some point. Like you're gonna hit into them and they get the free boss on your other Arceus, and then they take 4 before you even take 2, and then at that point they just can play the out healing war on you, and that might, like, I know there's no healing in these lists, but there's a world where like the similar thing gets employed. Yeah, and like if you have to put the Pika down or something like that, you can just get chased down by like other Pika on the other side. So and it's also just another basic, like Goon is just another basic where you can like put that down on turn 1 to not get roped against Mew if they're playing the Meloetta version still. So I don't know, I think there is room for innovation and adaptation. It's just not going to be crazy in this format.
Yeah, I agree. It's the format feels pretty revealed. Like, you know, I mean, all these people worked really hard to go to Worlds, and they put in a lot of effort, and that's where we're still standing. I'm sure someone's trying to do something. I don't know if they'll figure something out. I've tried a lot of stupid stuff. None of it's really working. I'm in a weird zone. I've been playing a lot of different stuff, but I think sticking with one of the top 3s and just hoping for the best is the best choice at this point.
Yeah. We're playing a 1,100 man regionals probably 1,000 people. So like your 9 rounds are gonna be crazy. It's just
you never know. Like you just never know what you're gonna go against. So play something you're used. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let's talk about Palkia. Obviously, it's a good deck. It does well. Yeah, I agree. I think it has the most versatile. It hits really high numbers. It sets up very quickly. Its Mew matchup is really good. Um,
Yep.
and the way, if Arceus is gonna be thought to be played heavily, you might get more Mew players, which internally helps you. So
It's a triangle meta. Like I think Arceus also
yeah,
has the room to mess up as a player because like you could even overbench by one Pokemon, and all of a sudden Palkia is hitting these numbers that you didn't expect him
right.
to hit. Like so you give these decks rooms to mess up.
Yeah, I think that's true. Like with Palkia, there is a lot of chances for you to play someone that doesn't understand the matchup as well, and just feeds into these numbers that you talk about, which is kind of nice to have as a Palkia player. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's not really much more. I think your guys' list for Palkia is great. I think Palkia is kind of straightforward on what it's gonna do. There's options, obviously decisions. You can kill two baby Pokemon on turn two with Ninja. There's a lot of stuff you could do. I think that it's the most versatile deck. So I'm with you on it being probably the best deck in the format. Obviously the Flying Pikachu is a problem. I don't know what you can do about it. Um, which makes it a big risk if you think a lot of people are just gonna play Flying Pikachu. I don't know if you want to play it into that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I think if you're playing Palkia, you have to be like confident in yourself as a player, and like
yeah,
understand that Palkia has to like you have to do a lot to make Palkia even work properly.
yeah,
But if you are confident, then yeah, go for it.
yeah, I agree. Let's talk about Mew. There's two lists going around. There's the 4 DCE list, and then there's the Meloetta list.
Yep.
The advantages of the 4 DCE list, they play some supporters that aren't
Yeah, you get to play
boss
stuff like
and
Marnie.
this.
You get to play stuff like
Yeah,
Marnie. Your hand doesn't get stuck as much.
correct.
But you're basically like you're like limited to like a 2-2-2 like strategy a lot of the time. You're limited to like a boss,
Yeah,
boss, boss. Like that's your game plan, and you lose a lot of pressure,
early.
especially when you go second.
Yeah, and I think the Meloetta obviously just has the best turn one, um, like possible to have a great turn one where you just can end a game on turn one, killing their one attacker or their one card that's set up, their one, I don't know, Froakie or I mean Sobble. Like there's a lot of options you can do with that. So I don't know, if I'm playing Mew, I'm playing the Meloetta. I don't want to give up that pressure. Um, I think stealing games away is just nice. But I do think you got to play catchers. Uh, I think the catchers are just like the Pokemon matchup's already bad, and I think catchers give you a chance to like steal games away from Palkia.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
they just have one Palkia, and you can just kill the Palkia on turn one. You can win, but you need the catchers. If you're gonna play the four DCE one, you're kind of like that Pokemon. You gotta flip heads. You gotta go first, and have a really good turn two and kill a Palkia.
I agree.
Uh, which sucks, but I think having the option of playing Mew and being okay with going first or second is like very underrated. I don't think a lot of people realize how underrated that is. It's a lot of decks really benefit going first. Like Palkia really benefits going first. So does Arceus, where if you play Mew and you're going first or second, you're playing the Meloetta list and you don't really care about the coin flip, which is kind of nice. Um, but it is a triangle. Like obviously your
It is
matchup,
generally, yeah.
yeah, with it. Obviously your matchup against Arceus, which might not be as great. I think you're right. I don't. People might just start cutting the Decidueye line and start adding those dark techs back into the deck, and it could be a tougher matchup. But in the past, we've seen Mew still be able to fight off the dark techs, and your matchup's still good because you can kill an Arceus very quickly. So I still
Yeah.
think even with the dark techs, the Mew matchup's tough for Arceus.
No, they're definitely still
Uh,
favored, especially if they go first. It feels really hard to
really,
play the game, I
yeah.
think.
And then obviously Flying Peaks super good into Palkia, and then Palkia super good into Mew. So with those three, I mean, it is what it is. Like you pick one of those, whichever one you think you have the most confidence with. I think obviously Palkia is probably the hardest one out of the three to play. Mew is pretty straightforward, and I think a lot of people have a lot of time on Mew. So I think that one.
Yeah. Mew is probably one where you see like you didn't see it at Worlds too much because a lot of the day 2 players are not like fans of Mew in particular, but like I think a lot of players have put a lot of time into Mew, and it's like one of their decks that they really enjoy. So
and it kind of just does, you know, I mean, it has one path. It's going for the 2/2/2 or like targeting something down. Like you kind of know what you're doing. So, and then RCS list just kind of just text for everything, and you match up. You kind of have to have the mindset of knowing the matchups and doing what you need to do there. But let's talk about like the 4th, 5th decks. Let's talk Regis. Let's talk Charizard Radiant.
I mean, both those decks are good, right? Like they're like your single prize decks that can like steamroll matchups. But I think Regis obviously has a problem with. I think both have a problem with Pika. And I think that's like kind of the scary thing, right? Like both decks can't really answer into Pika super well.
You played Regis, right?
I did play Regis at Worlds, yeah.
Is that what you found?
No. I mean, to be fair, I didn't expect like Pika was a deck that was lower on my radar. Like I thought Pika was just like a generally bad deck for Worlds, because I didn't think it dealt with the meta but the way it did. But I guess the Decidueye was something that I completely overlooked. Our group ended up selling on a Slaking build with the Pika deck, and I was going pretty even with it. And I felt fine. But I think Regis has to deal with Pika. I think Empoleon V might be played a little bit. I don't expect a lot of it yet. I think in Lost Origin it'll be played more. But and I do think if Palkia continues to play Tool Jammer, the matchup is slightly unfavorable. And also RCS putting Dunsparce back in their decks is really annoying because like that was like a kind of a freebie matchup if they didn't. And if they start doing that again, it's like you're kind of getting collateraled a little bit. Regis was definitely like I think a play that was still fine for Worlds. I would not have changed my play given what happened. I think I still could have like I think if things went a little bit different, those like the Pikas wouldn't have been up there, the Mews would have been up there, and the Palkias would have been up there. And I think that Reggie could have also been up there. Like I think if like Pablo could have been the one that top 8'd, for example. But I do think that moving forward this weekend, I don't think Regis is necessarily the best play. You're kind of banking on hitting a lot of Palkia and Mew, and I think you could do that and kind of hope for that to happen. I think you can beat Pika if you play like 4 rope, like 2 boss or something, but at that point you're losing a lot of your turbo in your deck.
True. It's
tough.
The setup's tough. There's a lot of single card like counters. It's difficult.
I'd pick a different deck to high roll with if I was playing high roll deck.
And when we go, I tried to play the Radiant Charizard deck last night, and I think it's just super high skill cap.
It's so hard.
Yeah, super hard.
If we had one more night at Worlds, I think our entire group would have shifted to something Radiant Zord related. But we had put a lot of time into it at the beginning of the format, coming off of NAIC. And then we kind of decided that it wasn't good enough to deal with some of the tougher matchups, like Arc and Teleon. And I think Palkia was still like a 50-50, which we didn't like. And then after watching Ross like absolutely dominate day 1 with it, we took some time to sit down and try and figure it out. And we like all felt like we don't have enough reps with the deck. And like I felt like we all felt that there was something like we're fundamentally missing to actually play correctly. But I could see like some players bringing it because it's a very high skill intensity deck. When you can set up everything properly, you can set up checkmates super easily.
Yeah.
The only problem is Pika is still kind of a problem.
Pika's a problem. I also just think this deck might be a little popular just because it is Charizard. There are people that are coming just to have fun. So definitely something to look out for. Obviously, I wouldn't tech for it, but I don't know. Out of the 3 games I played, or not 3 games, like the games I played last night, it just felt like I didn't know that. It's been a long time since I played a deck, and I just felt like I didn't know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like,
sure.
All right,
There's a lot of decisions to be made, and resources are all really important.
Yeah,
pricing can be really bad as well. So.
Pricing is bad, and just like if your opponent doesn't knock you out, things get very like, oh, do I just pass? Like, what do I do? Like, can I get 5 energies on this?
Hands. Like, you gotta set up your hand in a way that like is conducive to continue playing. There's a lot of
Path Marnie is like annoying, especially if you're setting up your hands, and then like if Empoleon was annoying because then you can't Garmin like there's a lot of things that were just like very awkward, and like I'm just trying to think. Like there was just a lot of thinking and not knowing, like not playing enough to have any like. There's no way I could play the deck. I'm like, especially 9 rounds and be confident. Obviously, there was games I played where I was like, oh, all right, like I just Raihan, get this card, I'm knocked out.
Sometimes the hands play itself.
Yeah,
but it's probably one of the lesser decks.
Yeah, it's just
it does it.
Yeah, super skill intensive. And it's definitely not something you can just pick up and play. But I think there's probably some players that are very talented and picked that up right away and went for it, you know, and they might, I could say doing good. I could say doing real well. Definitely, like its matchups are very well if you know what you're doing. Like those top 3, I think they're close, but they're not. I think they're still favored Charizard wise. Even Pikachu, I think you can get around the Pikachu. I mean, I think the Pikachu's got to get like a really good setup where you can't go around it, but even then, I don't know. I think the matchups are great, but again, I think you just lose to yourself not knowing how to play the deck. So I definitely wouldn't pick that up right away. What are some sleeper picks? What are some sleeper picks you think?
I put a video out on this actually yesterday, I think. I think Arc Duraludon is like in a really good place in this metagame. I think Arc Duraludon is like another one of those high roll decks that can really pop off. Yeah, you don't have the typing, but I think Duraludons are like a bitch to get through. Like Duraludon's like one of those cards that's like really hard to get through. And if you're like subscribing to the like, let me just research and play my game like strategy, like yes, you don't have Path Marnie, but I think you have a better chance to beat Mew than the other Arc deck. Like Arc Pika. And I think Arc Pika, I think you have a decent matchup in Arc Pika. I think you have a decent matchup into Palkia. Like I think every one of those matchups are like I think all those matchups are like super manageable. And I think like if you kind of just play your cards right, you could be okay. And I think there's like one of those matchups, like the decks like you auto in Gigas, you auto like Radiant Zard should be like actually super easy as well because like they don't ever get to those numbers where they can do something with Duraludon. Especially if your board is just Arc, like 1 Arc and 2 Duraludon VMAXs, like what are they going to do? They can't go through the whole thing. You're out healing them with Hyper Potions and stuff like that, so they can't even ship damage. So that's like probably my sleeper pick. It's probably the deck that I'm considering that's off the wall. That's not like not Palkia or something. And it's like probably the only deck that like I can see myself just like bringing and saying like I'm just going to draw cards and like play the game. And like I think like
super boring, but like might get the job done,
right? Like
might get the job done.
Try to play my 9 rounds of Pokemon, try to make it to my extra 5, and then play some more rounds of Pokemon, and then I just sit there and research every round. Right. And I have this really cool ability called Starbirth that lets me, play the game turn 2 every time. And that's like kind of the strategy that I might use this time around because I have honestly not touched my cards since Worlds. They are still packed in my bag, so I'm really hoping I have the cards I need. I literally been super burnt out since Worlds, so I think touching my cards has been like I don't even know if I have it in me to like play this weekend. I mean, I will obviously because it's like a 40-minute drive, but I am. We'll see what happens.
Right.
I don't have any high expectations for myself at all, but I think that's my sleeper pick for this event because I'll be playing it probably and winning the event. So.
Okay, that's not bad. I don't really have a sleeper pick to be honest. I think the format's figured out. I like the Duraludon. I guess we could throw like something with Jolteon. Maybe that Jolteon. I think a lot of people are cutting the Jolteon which is probably smart because it's pretty dead into like a lot of matchups. But I don't know. People could be thinking no one's gonna play the Jolteon, just go back all Inteleon engines and just get rolled over by the Jolteon builds. I mean, you could also just throw any type of like VMAX into an Arceus deck and do pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah.
We've seen that in the past, so something like that could be a sleeper pick. Arceus is very versatile. I don't see any like off the wall decks coming making a splash. I mean, I'll be very surprised if someone comes out with a different archetype and does well. So yeah, I don't really see anything like that. But I do like the Duraludon sleeper.
It's also just like a hard gut check. Like I feel like I could just get absolutely shit on and like go like 1-4 or something. But I feel like it's the only thing I would like see myself playing outside of like the tradition. Like there's like a 90% chance I play Palkia just because like it is the best deck in the format and it gives me the most chance to outplay people. But besides that,
yeah, I agree with that. It's not too bad. If you're just gonna go for points, what deck you playing?
Mew.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mew.
Mew, the fusionless Mew is a deck that actually our group had built as well.
Okay.
And I wish like I had the balls to pull the trigger at Worlds. I unfortunately was in day one. I saw a lot of dark stuff, so I got really scared. Like our player we sent into day one, Harris, ended up going 3-3, and I think all three of his losses were to like Inteleon plus dark stuff. Yeah, and I was just like, tough. absolutely the fuck not. I'm not sitting down and just getting just beat up by one Galarian Moltres. Like, you literally lose to one Galar Moltres. Like, I'm not doing that. And if I like Gigas was my backup, so like that's where I went. But had I like pulled the trigger on Mew, I think I would have actually like had a good time. Like a really easy. I think it would have been like given my matchups. Obviously, things would have shifted because what happened. But like I would have raffle stopped Worlds. I think.
I think so. I think I agree with you. I think Mew is very. You can just win games on turn one. You have a lot of options. I think it's the most repped deck. I think there's so many lists that you can look up and you can test. There's a lot of stuff, so, and you can just steal victories very easily with that list. And getting your 5. I think like even like 5-3 is going to get you points. Now you're making day 2. I think there's that many masters.
Yeah, I think we'll have we'll have over 800. So 256 kicker activates. Yeah.
So I think getting 5 victors.
Picking up 40 is like a really nice number to pick up. Even like we can get that. Like that's nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, just getting 5 wins, I think Mew's probably your best bet. I don't think you're gonna outplay yourself. I think other decks in the top you can overthink it and outplay yourself. I think Mew's very straightforward. You're gonna, you know your game plan. You're going for that 2-2-2, just bosses, orders, catchers. Let's move on with our life strategy, and you can win with that. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I think Mew's your points getter. What deck should you not play?
Zard. I think playing Zard box, like if you're not super well versed with it, or like a top 50 player is like kind of suicide into this big event because you're gonna have to play perfectly for a potential 27 games on day 1 into a potential like 15 to 18 games on day 2 into more. That includes prize checking properly, hoping things aren't prized every game. Like you're putting a lot on the line and it doesn't have the same kind of like assertiveness and agency that the old Urshifu had, like EUIC. Like you don't have the same amount of like I can checkmate you so easily with the way this game can go. You don't have that. Like you don't have that level of threat assessment where so many things can go wrong with this deck, and I don't think.
There's so many.
I think players will make a play that doesn't seem like a mistake, but like 4 turns later you'll realize like using that one net
correct,
it has lost you the game. Like using that one net or using that one quick ball or a level ball has lost you the game, and that's like a terrible feeling because like that's not something you can fully recover from moving forward into like a next round. Like you're thinking about it, like it's gonna stick with you. And so I think why work so hard for your wins when you get play something like Arc Pika? Like I don't know, like just
it's tough. I know Charizard's super fun. I mean, Charizard. I think a lot of people will just want to play Charizard. It's just, you're not that guy. I'm just saying, you're not that guy.
You're not,
you're not that guy.
I don't even think I'm that guy with Sarge.
Yeah,
Like, I don't.
that's what I'm saying. Like I was like, I was panicking yesterday. I'm like, I don't know what to play. Like everything sucks. I don't like the triangle. I'm like, Charizard probably has a good matchup into all three. I'm just gonna play Charizard. Play like 3 games. I'm like, oh, I'm not that guy. I'm not him. Like to even think about trying to make these decisions for 9 rounds, and you got to be pretty much perfect to even like get one victory. Like, and you got to do it twice. Also, if you lose a game, like the odds are like you're gonna tie.
You're gonna tie. Like
if
you lose game 1, your best case scenario is a tie.
Like
you are playing down to that 6th prize like almost every game.
Every time.
You're not playing a deck that can just like inherently be powerful and steamroll something. Like that's not the scope of your deck. Like
no. So like it's just not the play. As much fun you think you're gonna have, you're not gonna have fun. So don't play that. What decks win in the tournament?
Palkia. I'm putting my money on Palkia. I think good players will bring Palk.
Yeah.
I think there'll be more good players that bring Palkia that will players like Isaiah, players like Azul. Like I don't know if Azul will play Palkia necessarily, but like I think Palkia will be in the winning deck. Like I don't know if it'll be Palkia Ice Rider or whatever, but I think Palkia will be in the winning deck.
That's true. We didn't talk Ice Rider, but Ice Rider is definitely a play that we should have talked about, but we ain't got time for that now. I think I just think Flying Peak is probably going to win again.
Sure. I think there's very easily.
Yeah, I just think Palkia is great. I think you're right. A lot of good players are gonna play Palkia, and they're gonna be up there in the top 8, and they're gonna get beat by Flying Peak again 3 times in a row, which is just how it is. It is what it is. But I think something similar to the World's List will win. I think you're right. I don't think Dunsparce is good enough. I think people are going to play the Dunsparce. They're going to still get beat up by the Decidueye. I don't think the Mew matchup is as one-sided as people think it is. I still think it's tough for Mew to even win that matchup if they have again, Marnie Path is just really good. So I don't even think you need dark stuff to beat it. So I think the deck's just super well-rounded.
Like so much, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it worked for people. Like
it just works.
If it doesn't work, you get fucked. But it is proven to work over and over again. So
yeah. So yeah, I think that wins. I'm not gonna play it, even though I know that sounds stupid, but I don't like mirror matches. And if I'm gonna play a mirror match, I'd rather play Mew mirror match, so I'm probably gonna play Mew. Mew mirror matches.
Mew is like one of those decks that's just inherently so powerful. So
yeah, it's super powerful, and I think I'm gonna end up playing the Meloetta build, which I think is really good into the 4 DCE build. Which, if I'm gonna play mirrors, I'm cool with them playing that list. So sounds better to me. Yeah. I think that's where we're at. I think the event's gonna be fun. Baltimore should be fun. The weather it's not too hot out there.
No, it'll be nice this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be nice. The convention center is downtown area, which is cool. I've never been to Baltimore, so I'm kind of excited.
Warning to players: just don't walk too far at night from the venue area. I mean, downtown Baltimore is not known for its safety. So
okay, yeah. No baseball game this weekend, which kind of sucks. I'm a big baseball stadium. A football game. There is a football game. Might have to look into going to that. That's not a bad idea. So check that out. If you don't day 2, so maybe we hit that 5-3 mark, get some points, and go to that football game. Not a bad idea.
I'm not going to a Ravens game. I don't care about the Ravens.
I don't like football either, but I think I don't know when you're in. Doing something like that's just an experience. I don't know. It matters how much it is too. Football games are usually expensive. That's why I like baseball games.
The Ravens aren't that. Ravens Dolphins shouldn't be a big ticket game.
Oh, hopefully. I don't know. What, a baseball game, you can get into a baseball game for $40 and get good seats. Like, I don't know.
True. But there's also like a million baseball games.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, a football game, they only have like 8 in the whole stadium for the whole year. And like, tickets are just expensive just because of that.
It's like it's $100 still. That's
yeah, it's probably like nosebleed 100.
Yeah, nosebleed is probably what I'm.
Yeah, no, probably not. But maybe. I don't know. It matters how we're feeling that weekend. But yeah, I think we broke it down. Don't play Charizard. Play the top 3 decks. Reggie's probably not the best pick. There's some Duraludon, sleeper Duraludon. Definitely don't try to reinvent the format. It's not a good idea. And overall, just have fun. I think the event's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be run really well.
Oh, blast, yeah.
Yeah, I think the TO is very informative. Very.
No, I love Christine. Christine's great. Yeah.
Well, like on Twitter, definitely go on Twitter, follow all these people. Down below is a bunch of links to anyone who's a new player. If you're a new player and you want to get into the game, there's a ton of. I link like every content creator that I know down below that gives out good content for new players. Make sure you like, subscribe to this. Spotify, Apple Music, Rahul's TikTok's down there, so do that. Got anything else?
Nope, I'm chilling.
Nope, I'm chilling too. I'm excited for this weekend. It'll be fun to see you. It's been a minute. Yeah, guys, let's have fun. We'll see. Let's get some points. Have fun. If you see us, don't be afraid to hit us up. We're always down to hang out and talk.
Yeah, come say hi. I at Worlds and like a lot of events recently. There's been a lot of people coming up and saying hi to me, and it's honestly like one of the coolest things in the world to have people like just come talk to me and like take a picture and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's super cool when anyone ever says, "Hey, I love the podcast," or "I watch your podcast." Like, it's super like crazy to even think that people will want to listen to this. And I know we come and go a lot. And every time we go, I always get messages that are just like, "Yo, I need the podcast back. I missed the podcast." Or go to a regional, like, "Oh, you're the dude from the podcast." Like, that stuff feels good. It's really cool to see like the community actually enjoys the content I put out. So yeah, definitely if you see me, say what's up. I'm a nice guy most of the time. Unless I'm 03 and I'm leaving, dude, don't talk to me, alright? No, I'm just fine. At that point, if I'm 03, I'm laughing, and it's just not my day. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. We'll be back next week with Lost Origin stuff. I don't think either of us are going to Illinois, right?
No, I can't make it. I have a wedding.
Yeah, so neither of us going there, but we'll definitely play test because Salt Lake City, you're going?
I'll be there, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be at Salt Lake, so...
I should be at more likely than not everything else.
Yeah. I'll be at all West Coast for sure, and then NAIC for sure. And then it all just comes down to how many points I'm actually getting. Because then, you know, if I gotta spend some more money, head over to the East Coast, we might have to do that. But
yeah.
We're gonna try to just stay on the West Coast, because I don't know, East Coast is old. I don't like it. Not as fun. But yeah, I think that's it. I think it's time to scoop it up.